on us as a country, and we're not aware of that. Communism is alive and well. So why do I want to keep the sheriff in an elected position? Because we're not after Sheriff Swank, are we? His term ends in the end of this year. If you decide to go through with this, what's going to happen? The budget will go to the state. The sheriff's budget will go to the state. More importantly, the sheriff is the last line of defense between our elected officials and our people that elected them. I remind you of what happened in 1933 with Hitler when he took over the sheriff's departments. I don't know what the Germans call it, but pretty soon the sheriffs took over all of the deputies, and then now Hitler had control of the sheriffs and the deputies, and this is the truth. Okay, propaganda. Propaganda has silenced our voices. We need to think about what happened in Prague in May 15th, 1939, when Hitler just walked into Prague because the propaganda machine made them so fearful, they just closed their shops and their schools and let the armies of Hitler walk in.
That's your time. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. That is all that we show as wishing to speak in the room. Can we please move to those online who wish to speak? Would our communications staff please begin to call those names and move them over so they're allowed to speak?
Good evening. For those wishing to provide public comment to the Charter Review Commission, please press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And I will call out the names as I see them appear on my screen. First up is Ann Jolie. Please state your name for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Ann Jolie, and I'm in District 7. And I'm going to want to talk about the ombuds position. So what I'd like you guys to do is take a look at your own data and listen to the words of your own county executive. We don't have the money. Ryan Mello stated last year that the county is going to be short on reserves by the end of 2029. He said the county would have to find other revenue streams or drastically cut services. We have roughly 80,000 people living below the poverty line, and according to the county's own ALICE data, more than 1/3 of Pierce County households are struggling financially. More than 90,000 households are hovering right on the edge. Many are one unexpected bill away from financial disaster, homelessness, or devastation. That's nearly 35% of our households, and that number is growing. I mean, that is shocking, absolutely shocking. Given those realities, it makes no sense to create positions that we don't need, but we'll still have to pay for. Who do you think is paying for the ombuds position you're trying to create? You're reaching directly into the pockets of the people who cannot afford any more spending by this county. Protect the most vulnerable residents of Pierce County. More than 1/3 of your households are already struggling. Stop talking about families in crisis if your decisions are going to help put them there. Do the right thing for the citizens of Pierce County and don't use your money to fund a political agenda. Cut up your credit cards, stop spending. We the voters oversee the sheriff, the council, and the executive. Those officials are held accountable by the people. We don't need new expenses. Use what you already have and use it effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next we have Jay Worley. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Jay Worley. I live in District 7, and I have lived out in Gig Harbor and out on the KP on and off my entire life. The other places I lived were in King County. I am here to speak on C30 and others. C30 is important because our sheriff does not represent all of the people of our county. In fact, he has made clear statements that are harmful and intend harm against Pierce County residents. If we do not have an ombudsman to keep a check and balance system, we cannot protect everyone in our county. C-33, qualifications for sheriffs. Many times people go for a job, and that job is good for them, but they may not be good for it. It is very important that we are giving our people the most qualified sheriffs, not those with the most qualified opinions. C-29. As a person who was a teen parent, if I did not have the opportunity through early Head Start and early education for my daughter, I would not understand nor be able to fight on a legislative level for people like myself. As a person who is non-binary, if I did not have the lessons that I learned through that, I would not be able to stand up for myself and fight for others like me. Please continue to fight for a youth commission board. We need them badly. Not all of us have parents. Not all of us are protected. Not all of us are safe. And we need a space that's safe to give us the avenues to learn how to protect ourselves and stand up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next, we have Tom Bush. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
All right, Tom Bush here, Pierce County District 1, live out here in Boring. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I'm speaking here tonight in opposition to Charter Amendment C1, C30, and C34. Pierce County voters deserve a government that is accountable, lean, and responsive, not bigger, more expensive, or insulated from the public. I oppose all these amendments for the following reasons. First, changes that undermine our democratic accountability. Shifting a sheriff from an elected position to an appointed one takes the power away from voters and gives it to a handful of bureaucrats. Pierce County voters in the past have restored the position of elected sheriff, and we should not reserve that we should not reverse that decision. Elected officials answer directly to the people. Appointed ones do not. Second, expanding the county council beyond its current 7 members is unnecessary government growth. This would add more full-time, high-paid positions at roughly $140,000 salary plus benefits per member, plus staff and offices. Even adding 2 or 3 members could easily cost the taxpayers up to $1 million annually. And you combine that with our current fiscal situation, we're projected to possibly be in the red by 2029. It just doesn't make financial sense. And you don't make life better for we the people by expanding the size of the government and creating an additional tax burden. I talked to several people, and I have not heard anybody feels that they're not represented. If there's a representation issue, then that needs to be addressed at the ballot box with the tools we already have. Additionally, with Amendment C30, with the Sheriff Ombudsman Bill, there's already a very robust mechanism in place that holds law enforcement accountable. This is another layer of bureaucracy that's going to, again, grow the size of the government, create a bloated administration, and this is money that, frankly, could be going to hire more deputies and more support for the sheriff's office and law enforcement. Larger council and new oversight offices do not mean better representation. They mean more bureaucracy, higher taxes, and diluted responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up.
All right, next we have Sean D. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
We can, yes.
Thank you. My name is Sean Darby, and I serve as president of the Pierce County Deputy Sheriff's Guild and have been employed by the Pierce County Sheriff's Office for over 27 years. I urge the Charter Review Commission to carefully consider the long-term consequences of placing a sheriff's office ombudsman proposal before voters without fully understanding its costs, which has not been spoke about yet, its authority, its bargaining obligations with multiple unions and legal implications. Across Washington, civilian oversight offices have grown from modest review functions into permanent bureaucracies costing taxpayers hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars annually. The King County Office of Law Enforcement Oversight now costs more than $3 million per year, while the Spokane Ombuds Office costs nearly $1 million annually. Those costs continue year after year and often expand over time. My concern is not accountability. Deputies are already subject to extensive oversight through supervisors, internal investigations, prosecutors, the courts, public records laws, government, and elected leadership. The question is whether creating another layer of government will improve public safety or simply create additional expense, duplication, and conflict. A second concern is potential expansion of investigative authority. In other jurisdictions, oversight bodies have sought broader access to personal records, communications, and investigative materials. Any effort to examine officers' private communications raise serious constitutional, privacy, labor, and First Amendment concerns. Recent litigation across the county has demonstrated that government agencies can face significant legal exposure when protected speech rights are implicated. Finally, once an oversight office is established, its authority often becomes the subject of years of litigation, collective bargaining disputes, and political conflict.
That's your time. Thank you. Next.
All right, next we have Delaney McLaughlin. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Hi there, my name is Delaney McLaughlin. I'm here to talk about what used to be SB 5974. I'm 26 years old, Pierce County resident, working as an EMT, security guard, lifeguard, coordinator. Most days I go from one job to another. It's like people my age. That's what it takes to survive.
Would you please let us know what proposal you're addressing?
Yes, it was previously Senate Bill 5974. It is now going into law.
And can you tell us what the topic is?
It's about the elected sheriff and the loss or possible loss of voters.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. I rarely have more than 4 hours of sleep a night. I don't get days off. My life is work, responsibility, and trying to get ahead while serving the people around me. Even with all that, I took time to be here because I care what happens to my county and my state. I believe citizens have the responsibility to participate in government. I believe the government has a responsibility to listen when citizens speak. What concerns me is that all too often it feels like people making decisions no longer remember who put them where they are. They sit in offices, hold authority, and make decisions because hardworking people voted for them and trusted them to represent them. Yet year after year, many voters feel ignored, dismissed, and completely bypassed by their concerns when their concerns don't match agendas being pushed. People I know are worried about rent, they're worried about groceries, they're worried about insurance, and wonder if they'll ever be able to own a home. Meanwhile, the answer from government always seems to be more taxes, more restrictions, more control, and less say from the people expected to live under those decisions. I love this state, and I love the communities here, but I also believe that the people who live here deserve freedom. I believe they deserve a community that respects their voice and remembers that its authority comes from the consent of those governed. That's why I'm deeply concerned about the efforts to remove even more power from voters by taking positions that are elected by the people and placing them under political appointment. The sheriff serves the people. The sheriff answers to the people. The point is that the voters made that choice, and it is the voters' responsibility and freedom to make the changes that they choose. The current sheriff is the only person I've ever voted for who I felt actually is willing to publicly speak up, take a stand, and do the job we elected him to do. Now there are efforts to take that choice away from the public. This isn't increasing accountability, it's reducing it. If elected officials disagreed with voters, the answer should not be to give voters less power. The answer should be to listen harder. Thank you.
Thank you. Next step.
All right, next we have David Bryant. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay, so you should be able to hear me. This is David Bryant, County Council District 1. And I'd like to start by talking about the time limit. C-32, increasing the time limit for initiatives. That is one of the most important protections that we have in order for the people to speak up and make sure that we can correct the laws that are voted on by few representatives. Those checks and balances are critical to everything we do, so we should make it as easy as possible for the voters to make changes. The next one is on C-30, the sheriff. That position should be elected. We have now a great sheriff in position that's representing the people, representing everyone, and doing a great job at it. We should keep that in elected office so that we can decide, we the voters, the citizens can decide. The next one is P7, campaign finance. This is just to put additional barriers in place. The political action committees are people, citizens gathering together to contribute their money so that when they're working 12, 16-hour jobs, they can have something that's representing their needs in the political process. I think that has been gone through the courts multiple times, and that is a critical part of the elected process. The last one, C-36, increasing the council size. The council is 7, and it's plenty big enough to handle our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I think, is Eric Lundberg. Getting organized.
All right, next we have Eric Lundberg. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
All right, can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
Eric Lundberg, District 2, speaking to C-36. I believe this needs to be meticulously and aggressively reworded. What we are seeing coming out of Great Britain in the aftermath of Henry Nowak, who was brutally attacked and then handcuffed and denied medical treatment because he was accused of saying a racial slur is a byproduct of this type of the effect of this type of verbiage. We cannot be careless with these anti-discrimination verbiages and policies because, as I stated Monday, they have the opposite effect. What happens is certain groups of people get power and privilege and are not held to societal standards of accountability because they've been given victimized status. This isn't about equal rights for all. It's about extra rights for those who are most useful to the county. C-30, looking at this proposed approval of candidates in Section 3 of the proposal, will be very easy for the executive to stack the ombuds panel. Also, this is a fragmented proposal for a few reasons. Number one, it confirms a statewide authoritarian regime that has worked its way into every level of politics in our state. Number two, this proves that bureaucrats can't beat the citizens at the ballot box, so they have to get rid of the only line of defense that the citizens have to protect their constitutional rights. Three, this proves that the fear that true accountability strikes in the hearts of our high-level leaders, thus they want to control that accountability. It is obvious to the entire nation the umbrage that the county has toward our current sheriff. They should just run a new candidate against him and not destroy our Republican democracy in the process. C-21, this should pass nonpartisan. Please pass. Referendums is how we keep our republic. Governing officials in Washington State and Pierce County today need a constant reminder they serve the people, not the other way around. This keeps the county officials accountable to the people. No emergency clauses, no offending the vote. We just want the people to decide and live with the results. The bottom line is this: we are in an ideological battle and only one side can win, the people or the state. The time has come to choose. Please choose siding with the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I see Jeff Winter.
Yep, next we have Jeff Winter. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Yes, Jeff Winter, District 5, here again in opposition to C1, the appointed sheriff. Last week I mentioned that this commission seems to listen to their appointed legal counsel more than the concerns of the people. I also warned you that these lawyers come to law schools to focus on statutes, codes, case law, policies, and procedures, not the fundamental principles of law that guarantee our rights and keep government from attacking them. In previous meetings, I even quoted from the United States Supreme Court justices making similar statements. I fear the reason that C1 and the Ombuds proposal is still moving forward may be due to your legal team telling you that Article 2, Section 16 of our state constitution protects you. I'm here to tell you that Article 1 of our state constitution is clear that the people have all the political power, and when you attack what is written in the Constitution, you're acting outside the bounds of your authority, which the United States Supreme Court made clear is not protected in Trump versus the U.S. July 1st, 2024. Another good example how we have been deceived by these lawyers can be found in our state constitution, Article 1, Section 3, personal rights. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. In the 4 months I've been attending these meetings, I've heard the term due process brought up on more than one occasion, but not once have I heard the term due process of law. Why? Because by definition, due process of law has a distinct meaning. When the people's right of due process of law is realized, there are no statutes, codes, rules, case law, etc. involved. Only the law of the land, the common law. If your legal counsel disagrees with the truth that I've just spoken, have him swear on a penalty of perjury that my statements are false. I hope that you are seriously reconsider any proposal that restricts the right of the office of our elected sheriff. If not, may we all learn what it means for the people to have all political power. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Cindy Fajaro. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
I'm sorry. My name is Cynthia Fajardo, District 3. I am speaking in opposition of C30, the Sheriff's Ombudsman. I want to express my deep concern regarding the proposal to create a new executive department for law enforcement oversight. Although the council would appoint its leadership, the proposal clearly defines it as an executive department, meaning it would ultimately operate under the executive branch. This raises significant questions about independence, accountability, and the true separation of powers. The authority envisioned for this department is extremely broad. Meeting those expectations would require substantial staffing and ongoing operational support. Yet the Commission has not presented any meaningful cost analysis. There is no estimate for the long-term financial impact on county taxpayers. Compounding this issue, the Charter provides no option to leave this department unfilled. If approved, the county would be obligated to fund it for the next 10 years until the next Charter Review Commission convenes. That means taxpayers would be required to spend multi-millions of dollars on a department that may be not necessary. And I want to emphasize, I don't think it's not necessary, I think it's needless. And the reason I believe it's needless is we already have a statewide system in place for law enforcement oversight. The Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission has the authority to review misconduct, investigate, decertify officers who violate their oath. Creating a duplicate county-level oversight structure is not only redundant, it's fiscally irresponsible. The county finance director has already testified about serious concerns regarding the county's long-term economic stability. Adding a large, costly new department will place additional strain on the budget and inevitably impact other essential county programs. It's for these reasons that I urge you not to work on the Sheriff's Ombudsman. The financial structure and impractical implications of this proposal are difficult to understand. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Anna Burt. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Anna Burt, and I'm from District 3. Let's see. Sorry, hold on a second. I'm speaking on several amendments tonight, but first on the sheriff's position. I understand these are recommendations to the Pierce County Council. Commissioners bring opinions from across the spectrum on the sheriff, board size, eminent domain, youth council, housing, and more, etc. My hope is that you guys base your decisions on facts, data, and the voices of people before you, not personal feelings or disagreements with how an elected official conducts business. Feelings are valid, but they shouldn't be led to cancel voter accountability. We've seen challenges in King County with their appointed sheriff and impacts on public safety responsiveness. Let the people vote directly on these issues. We're a constitutional republic, but the democratic core is what some people say is under attack. You can't claim democracy is under attack if you only want to see it from your version. If you want democracy, democracy belongs to all American citizens, including the right to elect their sheriff and hold them accountable at the ballot box. Thank you.
Thank you. I see one more hand online.
Yes, next hand is Don McGinnis. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Before I start my time, can I just make a couple of notes? When you guys said that the meeting started at 6, you didn't. It was way after 6. I think it was like 6:06. That's just for the record. And also, if in future meetings, if you could let people online know who's first and second, so the second person can be ready to present their testimony, it would make it a lot easier than trying to guess where you're at in line. My name is Don McGinnis, and I'm a District 6 resident. I've been out here for 40 plus years. And I'm here to testify on Mr. Swank, or our sheriff, our elected sheriff. I want him left alone. I want to be able to elect my sheriff. We will hold him accountable, he or she. At the next election cycle, if we don't like him, we'll vote him out. If we do like him, we'll keep him in. So keep your hands off him. Keep your hands out of our eminent domain. We work hard for our stuff that you have no business coming in and it's taken because you want it. It's ugly. Look what you guys have done to the hotels and motels. They're drug infested now. I didn't get to elect if Washington State was to be able to come a sanctuary city or not. And look at my state. It's a hellhole. It's actually a shithole. I'm not safe anywhere. The gentleman before said that he doesn't feel safe because of the color of his skin. I'm a woman. I don't feel safe because I am not protected. We need more police officers in this state. We need to support them. They're the only ones keeping us safe. Our government has gone awry. They don't care about us. And putting youth in charge? Are you guys out of your mind? You got nothing better to do than just to throw this stuff out there? Proof of citizenship is very important, too, for our voting. You need to be a citizen of Washington State, a citizen of the United States to vote in any of our elections, period. I don't care if you have a green card or not. I don't want to support illegals. I don't want to support anyone that isn't here legally. So these are things that are really, really a waste of our time. And the recall is looking really, really good here. You keep our hands off our sheriff, and our hands off our properties. They're ours. You have no business anywhere near it. And as far as nature and humans, nature doesn't have the same rights as humans. We're way beyond that. We're out of the caveman stage now. I think we can think like an adult. These are things that shouldn't even be wasting our time. I've got better things to do. I'm a taxpayer. Stop taking my money.
That's right. Thank you very much. I see one more hand. Jeff Pack, I think.
Yes, Jeff Pack, please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay, there we go. Jeff Pack, Pierce County resident of 30 years, District 2. It saddens me that the liberal virus I've testified and fought against in Olympia for years has now infected my county government. What I tell my close friends is that liberals are the real pandemic, like a virus that destroy their host and then move on to destroy another. That's the case that I see here. What I see in most of the amendments is the same woke agenda that's destroying my home state. I have a long list of opposed and only a few yes. Given the push in Olympia to remove the voice of the people in electing their sheriff and then replacement with yet another appointed lackey is concerning. C-30 is the subversive means to that end, by allowing yet another different appointed lackey to oversee our elected sheriff. And this supposed citizens commission, just more appointed lackeys. This charter amendment is not about oversight, it's about overthrow. This is a steep, slippery slope toward totalitarianism and fascism. Bad enough we have that now in Olympia where tyrants run rampant destroying our state, and now the barbarians are knocking at the gate in my county. Then there's C-42, eminent domain. To even consider taking away somebody's property for a litany of vague, ill-defined reasons, that's abhorrent. And the sponsor's action, the last meeting, equally abhorrent. This amendment is just another thinly veiled attempt to just take anyone's property with no oversight and is so absolutely ripe for abuse. I find it very concerning that the time limit to increase our voice in this process was shot down. There are too many amendments to address in 2 minutes, and you well know it. I'm opposed to 11 of these amendments and only support 2. You know these amendments are not popular. The volume and tone of the speakers against them is telling. Yet you are still pushing an agenda that isn't popular in my county, and that's truly saddening. I'm done.
Thank you very much. And with that, that concludes public comment. And I'm going to call a 10-minute recess at this time, so we will reconvene at 7:52. Thank you, everyone.
Motion for that. God, it's like they don't even read the Robert's Rules of Order. You have to have a motion. I don't think they do. You have to have a motion for a recess. That's insane. And later on, you're going to find out that they're going to limit them to speaking one time, which is a filibuster rule.
PM, and if we continue to work, get through our business by next Wednesday and get on track, then we can cancel it. So just something I would hope that you guys consider. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Layton, for the suggestion. Just in case folks didn't hear that, it's not a proposal, it's not a motion. It's just a thought that we consider a special meeting on Saturday, June 13th. So, thank you, Commissioner Layton. All right, so we are now on reports and updates from the chair. I'll keep this brief, but I'd like to point out that today's agenda reflects all remaining active proposals. Everything that's on the agenda is everything that we need to talk about that we haven't already talked about. The goal for tonight is to get through as much of the agenda as possible so we can continue to move things along to the hopper or the bucket of items that may ultimately reach the ballot. So with that, I would ask commissioners to please do your best to be efficient in your comments. And just as we have asked of our audience, I would also remind each other of our published rules for our own conduct. Please address one another and any other meeting participants professionally and considerately. Please keep your comments germane to the matter being debated, and disruptive conduct is not acceptable. Thank you very much. We're in this just a little bit longer. I can't see that. Commissioner Rohr.
Present.
Oh, the record should reflect that Commissioner Rohr has joined the meeting. Thank you. So with that, we will move on to first reading. Sponsoring commissioners will be called upon to open the discussion at first reading. You can assume that everyone has read the proposal, but since it might be a while since the matter was discussed, the sponsor can make a brief introduction and a statement in support of the proposal. If you're sponsoring a public proposal and the member of the public is present, they may briefly address the body in support of their proposal, in addition to the sponsor's brief remarks. You notice I said brief twice. After that, unless I hear objection, we'll allow one comment per commissioner and allow the sponsoring commissioner, if they wish, to close the first reading discussion. It's not required that the sponsor do that. So with that, we will move to first inquiry. Commissioner Romy.
I want to clarify with do we have a parliamentarian here today? With regards to only being able to comment once. I believe Robert's Rules of Order requires a 2/3 vote in order to limit the commissioner's comments to one.
So my understanding of Robert's Rules is that there's the right to speak twice on a motion. We don't have motions on first reading, it's just discussion. So unless there's objection in terms of efficiency, we would like to limit discussion to one per commissioner.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Likens, yes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. When we did our rules, I think we finalized those at the end of February. I believe we allowed the chair to limit discussion by either setting a time, talking once. Do you have that handy to reference? If not, I'll be happy to pull it up and go through.
Our rules state that the chair can moderate discussion and debate in the manner allowed by Roberts and/or by consensus of the commission, including but not limited to by imposing speaker time limits, limiting total debate time, and ending debate at a stated time, by prioritizing first-time speakers, by rotating between speakers before and against a motion or a topic, and by enforcing a rule that all speakers have been heard on an issue or topic prior to a speaker being called upon for a second time. So again, we're not debating motions on these first readings, so I don't, it's not my understanding that the Roberts rules that you have the right, unless the body votes otherwise, to speak twice to a motion is applicable here. So in the interest of efficiency, I'm asking that we do our best to move the discussion along, and unless you have something absolutely burning to say, please try to limit your comments to one per, with the exception that the sponsor of the proposal can make a brief comment to close out debate, but they don't have to. Commissioner Riddle-Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioner Riddle-Kelly, District 4. I really appreciate the statement you just made, although you did at the end say, please don't do it unless you have burning desire, and I don't want that to open the door for second comments. I think the rule is, as we've established, that there is no second comment.
Fair enough. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn to C37, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Riddle-Kelly to make his brief introduction to open first reading.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioner Riddle-Kelly, District 4. So this is, as folks have noted here this evening, and in prior meetings, an amendment to reaffirm our commitment as county habeas corpus. It may seem redundant, but I want to flag just a few things that have happened over the last few months, and why, to me, this really reinforces the need to protect constitutional rights, including the constitutional rights of people that are currently detained. We've been meeting since mid-January. In less than 4 months, we've seen a powerful anti-democratic coalition of billionaires and bigots push to strip power of rights, people rights at all levels of government. We've seen the U.S. Supreme Court got the Voting Rights Act. We've seen the U.S. President start an illegal war without approval from Congress, and ongoing efforts to criminalize our transgender and immigrant communities. Many others here.
Point of order. This has got to stop.
I know.
This has nothing to do with federal.
It actually does.
Take exception to what is being said.
Commissioner O'Leary, what's your point? What point of order are you making?
My point is, we continue to go down these paths of political preference, and that's not our job. And I think that this is not in the foundation of what we're here to do, and his description, his wording is offensive. So I would ask that that be tempered.
Commissioner Riddle-Kelly, will you please keep your remarks to support of your particular proposal in the context of our work here today? Thank you.
I can keep them to Washington State, which I think is reasonable. And I'm just going to make a couple comments about recent events in Washington State and locally that have happened in the last few months, which I think are important if we're thinking about the rights of people in our community. So on top of all the federal stuff, and here in Washington State, we have an active Department of Justice attack on our jail and prison system for how they house quote-unquote biological males. And of course, we have a lot of local issues, including in the last couple weeks, folks detained at Northwest Detention Center moved to a different center when they went on hunger strike. And of course, our ICE collaboration as sheriff, along with our jail system that is woefully out of date, and a court system that is woefully backed up to the point where our Supreme Court forced the legislature to dramatically expand the public defender pool in the last couple of years. All this to me means that folks that have been accused of a crime but have yet to be through their court process are vulnerable. And I firmly believe in all of the constitutional rights guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And I think it's completely reasonable for our county to reinforce those in this moment where many other levels of government are trying to strip them. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Seeing no other discussion on this matter, we will move on.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Fletcher, Commissioner Rogie. Oh, Rogie Fletcher, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Rogie, District 3. This section, this proposal restates constitutional basics and adds new language. This rationale cites an erosion of rights for immigrants and communities of color, pretrial detention, inequities, and bail issues. Protections already exist under the U.S. Constitution and the Washington State Constitution. Embedding them here with this framing and emphasis could encourage interpretations that prioritize offender comforts over our community protections. Article 1, Section 35 of the Washington State Constitution explicitly protects crime victims' rights, including the right to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity, etc. Victims of violent crime, theft, domestic abuse, and other offenses deserve a charter that reinforces accountability. The added language risks tilting the balance away from victims towards those who commit and are convicted of crimes. C-37 is a thinly veiled attempt to politicize Pierce County's charter by embedding activist ideology that elevates offender rights and vague notions about the safety and rights of crime victims. Seems this addition, at least what is beyond what is already stated in the U.S. and Washington State Constitutions, subordinates the interests of law-abiding citizens. I am a no on this.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Fletcher, District 5, the sponsor of C-37 admits it's redundant. He's right. It is. The contents of C-37 are meaningless. It's all for show. He even admitted it. And so what we have here is we have meaningless language added to the charter potentially. We should give full meaning to our charter by adding stylistic, symbolic, political language. It detracts from the purpose of the charter, and it does not serve the citizens in any fundamental way. Like Commissioner Rogie, I am also a no on this as well. I will entertain a motion now to have a vote on this on C-37 right now to remove it from the agenda. I think a simple majority vote of this will be sufficient. So I'll make my motion here to have the body vote yes or no to keep C-37 on the agenda or not. A yes vote would be to remove it indefinitely.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we amend our rules to skip for second reading of this and remove it from further consideration. Commissioner Likens, are you speaking to the motion?
Yes. It's just a point of clarification. Thank you, Madam Chair. In order to suspend our rules, it requires a 2/3 majority, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fletcher,
I'd like to.
you already spoke to your motion.
Okay, fine.
It's a motion, you get two.
Yeah. All right. Seeing no other
Point of order, clarification.
Online.
Normally when somebody presents a motion, they're given an opportunity to speak to it.
Oh, I think all right, go ahead, speak to your motion. You spoke to it when you introduced it, but Commissioner Rogie is correct, so go ahead. Sorry.
No worries, Commissioner Fletcher. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think this motion here is relevant. It does a couple of things. It fast tracks good ideas and it stops bad ideas. This is a bad idea. There's lots of other bad ideas on the agenda, and I think we should prioritize the good from the bad. And so I think this is not only an expeditious use of time for this council to consider, but also is an important lesson in discerning good ideas from bad ideas, things that will appreciate the charter and things that will attract from the charter. Thank you.
Commissioner O'Leary, do you wish to speak to the motion, or was your hand up for the underlying propositions?
No, I'd like to speak to the motion, please.
Go ahead.
I completely agree with Commissioner Fletcher. I appreciate him bringing forth this motion. And I'd also like to interject that we consistently seem to work hard to find ways to shave time away from the citizens so that we can move faster through our process. But yet, we don't hold ourselves to a higher standard of proposing quality amendments and minimizing some of our own ridiculous debate. This is a terrible amendment. It needs to be taken out, and these kind of efforts will help us move through the balance of our process to hopefully get some good quality amendments to put on the ballot for the benefit of the citizens to consider.
Commissioner
I'm totally
Rohrer.
in favor of this amendment. Thank you.
Commissioner Rohrer, are you speaking to the motion?
No, I was going to speak to the motion. I can, yeah.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded that we, by 2/3 vote, override our rules to remove this item from the agenda rather than proceeding to second reading of it. So, all in favor, say aye.
No, Madam Point of Order. 2/3 votes require like a count vote,
Oh,
not
all
my
right.
voice.
So
Sorry.
that's why I was silent for a minute. I was thinking. So yes, since we're taking a 2/3 vote, all in favor of this motion, signify by putting up your card or raising your hand online.
I count 11.
All those opposed?
Of course. I count 7.
Abstention.
Any abstentions? One abstention? But I can't do that math.
That's close. I think it's 12.
Oh, Commissioner,
61. So it does not pass. Okay. All right. So the motion does not pass. We'll continue with first reading. Does anybody have any other thing that they'd like to add?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohrer?
Commissioner Rohrer, District 6. So I am also not in support of this amendment. The Washington Constitution expressly says that its provisions are mandatory unless otherwise stated. They do not become more enforceable because the Pierce County copies them into the charter. The federal Constitution separately protects habeas corpus and criminal defendant rights. Pierce County already requires an official oath of office under Charter Section 9.55. The County Council adopted the official oath by ordinance for elected and appointed county officers. The Pierce County Sheriff's Correction Bureau also already states publicly that it manages people in the jail in a, quote, safe, secure, and constitutional manner, quote, and promotes an environment consistent with human dignity and free from discrimination. So some examples of the problem of this amendment. So you could say if the commission follows the logic of C-37, it could spend the remainder of its time adding provisions such as Pierce County shall not abridge the freedom of rights. Pierce County shall not interfere with religious freedom. Pierce County shall not deprive a person from life, liberty, property without due process. Pierce County shall not invade a person's home or private affairs without authority of law. Pierce County shall not comply with the rights of petition government. Pierce County shall, comply with public records or opening meeting laws. Pierce County shall comply with non-discrimination laws. Pierce County shall comply with election laws, labor laws, and disability access laws. These are all important obligations, but the county is already required to follow them. The charter is the county's foundational governing document. It establishes the structure of government, defines powers, responsibilities, and explains how decisions are made. It is not intended to reproduce the Constitution serve as a list of every law county officials must obey. On the jail treatment language, the jail treatment language is the most county related part, because Pierce County operates a jail and has responsibilities for people in county custody. But even their state law already sets minimum jail standards. For example, RCW 70.48.071 says local correctional facility standards must meet federal and state constitutional requirements for inmate and staff health, safety, and welfare, and local facilities must operate according to those standards. So the county can adopt policies, fund jail services, set oversight expectations, and improve conditions, but it already must comply with constitutional and statutory jail standards. And one of the questions that, in understanding that is, what legal authority would Pierce County have to eliminate cash bail by county ordinance when bail is governed by the Washington State Constitution, state law, court rules? This amendment is not necessary because the rights it lists are already guaranteed in a state institution and by state law. A county charter cannot expand, suspend, or rewrite those constitutional protections. It also cannot give the county council power to eliminate cash bail if bail is governed by the Washington Constitution, state statutes, court rules, and judicial discretion. The charter should govern Pierce County government structure and county authority. It should not restate constitutional criminal procedure rights or imply that the county council has authority over state court bail decisions. I also have concerns regarding new and undefined language. There's one sentence that goes far beyond existing constitutional language. It says requiring, and I quote, fair, humane, and proportionate treatment, quote, of detainees and prisoners. It is undefined. What language sounds reasonable in principle? It could create ambiguity without establishing a clear or measurable standard. What does proportionate treatment mean in practice? Who would determine whether treatment is proportionate? Is the language intended to change jail operations or create a new legal claim against the county? Could it be interpreted to affect judicial decisions? The rationale also states that the charter language could provide direction to the courts and jails, and that is concerning. The judicial branch is independent, and the judicial authority is established under the Washington State Constitution. I do not believe a county charter is the appropriate vehicle to direct judges in the exercise of their judicial responsibilities. For those reasons, I do not support advancing C37. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Herrera.
Thank you, Commissioner Herrera, District 2. I would like clarification, as I previously asked in the first reading, if this is the elimination of cash bail. And also, my concerns are that, this has been tried before. Several places across the states who have experimented with, passing these habeas corpus rules. It's been abused and manipulated by violent, dangerous, and repeat offenders who have no regard for the sanctity of human life, property, and no intention of ever following the law. So is this giving criminals more rights? I ask because proposals made by this commissioner who is constantly talking about constitutional rights and then simultaneously approving and on letting me only speak once, and I think that that is wrong. Furthermore, this proposal addresses problems our county does not have. Our county is not facing a habeas corpus crisis or a detainee treatment crisis that justifies this measure. and this bill appears to solve a problem that does not exist in our county. There is no showing that our county's courts or detention facilities are failing in a way that warrants this change. Public policy should respond to actual local conditions, not hypothetical problems. And before restricting courts or changing detention-related procedures, the county should identify a real documented local need. We should not weaken legal safeguards to address a problem that is not shown to exist here. This amendment is redundant and not necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Herrera. Commissioner Consuelo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Consuelo, District 6. Usually don't go for, well, actually I do, so never mind. I'm going to go on topics that were just discussed. I'm hoping that this amendment does go and pertain to the detention center that we have here in our backyard. The points that were taken that were mentioned that nothing is needed here and that we don't have issues here. That's completely false. If you haven't heard of the Northwest Detention Center, I think it has a new name and it's rebranded, but it's the same piece of garbage that has existed here for as long as I've been alive. Has failed our immigrant population regardless of citizenship, I believe, and the Supreme Court believes that even non-citizens have the right to habeas corpus. They have constantly been on hunger strikes. There has constantly been issues of health and safety and well-being. Internal reviews are not enough, as we've seen with the Northwest Detention Center and Geo Group. If you tell someone you're going to come on the 23rd of whatever month, they have that whole time to plan, make everything spick and span, and then the day after they get their review, they go back to their egregious actions and conditions. So they won't even they recently just let Congress people, our local Congress people, go in and review the conditions of the detention center under very, very strict situations, and it took forever to allow them to review it, even though they are on a federal level as well. So I think even if, I understand some of the pushback on this, but I think if anything, it reiterates the county's point to protect all folks and all members of our community, because you can't erase and you can't paint over a whole percentage of the population. Pierce County has a huge and immense history with our immigrant and refugee community, and I've had the pleasure and the honor of working with them in the last few years of my life, even though I've had this experience for all of my life. So I myself will be pushing for this and standing with our immigrant and refugee community. So yeah, thank you so much.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, this will move on after Commissioner Rydell Kelly's very brief.
Yeah, I promise to keep it brief. But Commissioner Consuelo reminded me of something that I was going to say before I got point of order, which is there's a lot of talk about what happened in Minnesota and how an activist movement of people of all different backgrounds forced ICE out of the state. That's true. It's very true. People should be proud of it. At the same time, the president and people around him used the media to claim the reason they actually pulled ICE out was that they had unprecedented support from sheriffs and jails throughout the state for releasing folks of immigrant backgrounds that were detained directly to ICE before court processing. And that was actually said repeatedly in the U.S. media in March and April of this year. And then the only other point is there's a lot of amazing legislation and ordinance and state level action and constitutional stuff that's happened throughout the states and in Washington that reaffirms constitutional rights and reaffirms some of the most important rights in the country, one of them being Washington's own equivalent to a Voting Rights Act passed by a number of folks, including our own Representative Charlotte Mena a few years ago, which actually is protecting Washingtonians right now, even as voting rights are being stripped nationally. So I think to go after redundancy here is a little there's a lot of redundant stuff that happens at all different levels of constitutions in different jurisdictions, and I just think that's important to know. Thank you.
Thank you. This matter will move on to second reading. Moving now to first reading of C42. Brief discussion, introduction by Commissioner Randall Kelly.
Yeah, I'll keep this one really brief because I don't want to dominate all the time here tonight. One thing I really want to clarify for folks in the room, because there's a lot of public comment about eminent domain. The county already has eminent domain in the charter, and in fact, the language that I put in clarifies and in some ways limits how eminent domain can be used. Specifically, when I can't remember what speaker it was, but a member of the public brought up a risk of the SeaTac airport expansion in East Pierce County, which is something I am virulently opposed to. This amendment would make that probably more difficult because it specifies that it takes out some language that's a little redundant about how eminent domain can be used for stuff that may be for private benefit that develops a county. And it says specifically it must be in service of the poor and needy, which I'm pretty sure an airport would not count for that. So I think that, we want to clarify that, this actually puts more limitations on eminent domain in ways that might harm working class folks that lived in a property for a very long time. And the only addition with adverse possession, which is a modification of eminent domain, slightly different, is to go after speculators. It's to go after rich people that sit on property forever and let it go into blight and let it go into disrepair in ways that affect the communities around them and affects the working class communities around them, which probably includes a lot of people in this room and their families and friends. It's included my family and friends in rural communities. I grew up in a rural community that speculation occurred, and it was a major problem. So I think we should, just be honest about what this actually is doing, and I hope it earns the support of folks in this room, including members of the public in this room. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, we will move this on to Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Fletcher, District 5. Unfortunately, the sponsoring commissioner's analysis of C42 is not correct. It is inaccurate. This eminent domain proposal is unconstitutional. It is a regulatory taking of rightful properties owners' land in Pierce County. You could call it a wolf in sheep's clothing, but that would have the idea that this is actually trying to have some sort of veil or disguise in what the proposal is directed at doing. So, as written, it is vague. It's drafted essentially to expand without legal basis the power of the county to usurp and seize private property. People work hard for their land. They sweat, they toil, they bleed, they skimp and save to earn. It's a dream for many people in this county. I want that dream to persist for the next 10 years for all of posterity in this county. I want the dream of owning land, being a property owner, for working people, for everyday people to remain a possibility. What this does is the opposite. It expands the county's ability to take private property unlawfully from those who have earned it. They did not earn anything, they only would seize and take. It's not a very equitable relationship between the county and the citizens that live there. When the county residents only give and give and give, and all that the county officials can do is take and take and take. And right now, that does not sound like a good idea. Not at all. This idea at its core is irreconcilable with our values, with property rights, which are sacrosanct in this country. Individual property rights and the respect thereof is one of the major contributors to human prosperity in our country. And so it really is saddening to see this, because this proposal, it is the politics of envy. It is the gospel of greed. I cannot stand by and just allow this